I think it's about time I brought you some of my audiobook recommendations. Hi, Katie here, better known as Reading with Katie Louise, and I'm here to bring you some of my favourite audiobook recommendations. So obviously my YouTube channel is all about recommendations, and I realised that I've talked a lot about the audiobooks that I read, especially in my wrap-up videos, but I've never actually brought you any recommendations. Now the recommendations that I'm about to bring you include some that are mixed media, which I think are better on audio, but just some of the books I've listened to on audio and have probably got a bit more connected to because I can hear the character's voice. So they're not all mixed media and they're not necessarily any better on audio, but I listened to them on audio at the time and gave them a high rating. So yeah, let's get into it. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the mixed media books, and there are three that I wish I'd listened to. One on audio, two not, but I wish I had listened to the audio because they are mixed media. So these are ones I would definitely recommend you pick up in audio. The first one I want to talk about is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Now, I did listen to this on audio. It was one of the first audiobooks I picked up in 2024 and I absolutely inhaled it. It had music in it. It was very podcast set. So this follows a podcaster who discovers her birthday twin, and basically, obviously not all is as it seems. It's a crime and thriller, but you go through the motions of this podcast as this woman tries to dig into her birthday twin's life. I really enjoyed this. I think at the time I rated it 4 stars, but I think in my current rating for 2025, I think it would have been a 4.5. It wasn't quite a 5, but I did really enjoy it. I loved the mixed media format as well. But yeah, I just would recommend this, and definitely in audio. The other mixed media that I wish I had that I've currently got in physical form is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tentera. So again, this is another podcast kind of form. I actually picked this up in physical as part of a readathon last year. But this follows a woman who comes back to her hometown after basically she's been cleared, but everyone thinks that she unalived her best friend, and she doesn't remember a thing. So she's just going on what everyone else saw and what she sort of woke up to. So she woke up next to her unalive best friend, assumed she'd done it. So this podcaster wants to find out the truth because it's like a real crime documentary setting. So he's doing a podcast, and basically they do actually get down to the truth on what happened, whether she did it or not. I loved this. She's quite a quirky character. She does have voices in her head, which I think is what originally put me off the audio. But I do think because it's mixed media, it would have been a better experience. The writing of this book is still good, but I would absolutely recommend you pick it up in audio rather than physical. And then the last one I want to talk about that I wish I'd listened to in audio, but I did accidentally buy the book, and that is The Ugly Truth by Elsie North. I actually originally bought this for a friend as a book fairy and forgot to, well, I think I ordered it on my way home, and basically because I went through a tunnel on a train, it glitched it back to my address on Amazon, so unfortunately the book's delivered to my address. But I ended up really enjoying the book. It's another like podcast style. It's very much set online, this one, and it's, yeah, I have seen there's other books by this author, so I'm very intrigued. But I think I would have enjoyed this more again because it is mixed media if I had have listened to it in audio, so I would recommend you pick it up in audio, but nonetheless, definitely a book you need to pick up. So I just want to give a quick mention to where I get my audiobooks from, and I do use BookBeats primarily as my subscription service. I do also use Libby and Spotify, as I do have Spotify Premium, but the 15 hours doesn't really cover much there. So BookBeats, if you are wanting to give it a try, let me know. This is not ad or PR. Obviously, I have a refer a friend code. However, I am really impressed with the range of books that are on BookBeats, so I do want other people to be able to experience them. And an author that I was quite surprised to see, the majority of her books are on BookBeats, and that is Frida McFadden. So I've just picked 2 books as an example, but the majority of hers are on there. I listened to The Surrogate Mother on there. The Wife Upstairs is definitely on there. The Housemaid, I've seen Never Lie. There's so many of Frida McFadden's books on there. So obviously I wanted to mention these 2. Never Lie is my favourite book by Frida. My ranking video is in my videos if you want to go and take a look. But Never Lie follows 2 people who get stranded in a home that they've gone to view, and basically they start having a nosy around. It was the house of a psychiatrist. They find tapes and they start to like piece together what happened in this house. It gets creepy, it gets fast paced, and I absolutely adored this book. And obviously the Housemaid series is all the rage. Frida is a very well loved author, and I have read all of her books up to date. So I am very much going to say, if you want to start Frida but are not quite feeling a physical, audio is definitely the way to go. Another series that I've fallen in love with via audio is actually the Maid series by Anita Prose. So I absolutely adore Molly the Maid, and I don't think I would adore her as much if it wasn't for the fact that I had her voice living in my head rent-free. So The Maid is the first book in the series, and it follows Molly the Maid, who basically takes after her grandma in being a maid. She works in a hotel, and somebody is unalived in the hotel. Unfortunately, she becomes the prime suspect. She's a quirky little character. I absolutely adore Molly. I have just been accepted for the third book in the series on NetGalley to read. It will be the first time, however, of me reading the book, but I will probably pick it up in audio as a reread just to have Molly's voice in my head. So yeah, the second one is The Mystery Guest, and again, there is another unaliving in this one. Apart from Molly is not the one that is getting blamed this time. It is her new recruit maid. It is very much a similar storyline, but I just love the character development in this. It's very much a mystery thriller, not a psychological, so it is a bit slower paced, but I think the character-driven plot in this just makes these books so lovable. I did also read The Mistletoe Mystery over Christmas, and again, short and sweet, not quite as lovable as these because these have got obviously a lot more plot and a lot more story, but nonetheless, all of this series is available on BookBeats, and I just love Molly the Maid so much, and I'm not a mystery thriller girly, but this, yeah, and they're on BookBeats, so absolute recommend. Now the next one, this is purely on my audiobook recommendations because I gave it 5 stars, and that is His and Hers by Alice Feeney. It follows a series of characters, but primarily it follows a detective who keeps having to go to several unalivings, and it follows a reporter who she just seems to keep being connected to all the victims. You can see where this is going, however, you will not see the ending of this book. It is quick paced, and I struggle with thrillers in terms of audiobook, but I saw this and wanted to start my Alice Feeney journey, and I'm so glad that I did. A lot of Alice Feeney's books are on there, so there is also Rock, Paper, Scissors, which I rated a high 4 stars, and there is also I Know Who You Are, who I have just finished, and I'm not going to give you a rating until my wrap-up goes out, but I have also read that one. They're all available on BookBeats. So again, Alice Feeney is another author I would absolutely recommend. Another one, and a bit of a change on theme here, is a romance, and that is Twisted Lies. Now, if you are not a lover of thicker books, I would recommend audio. I rated this 5 stars. Now, the first in the series I enjoyed, the second I didn't. It put me off reading the last 2, so I opted to pick the last 2 up in audio about a year later, and I'm glad I did. This, however, was definitely the best one in the series. It comes with drama. The voices, the narration definitely makes a book. But yeah, so this is the 4th in Twisted series. So I'm not going to go too much into this book, purely because I don't want to ruin it. It is a series. I recommend you pick up the whole series, but they are available. I think I read these on Spotify actually, but I believe I've definitely seen Twisted Hate on BookBeat. So I'll recommend it. If you prefer a romance but don't like a long one, I would definitely recommend. And on that note, while I'm talking romance, because I don't have the copies of books to hand, the Boys of Tonham series is also on BookBeats. Now, I would get immersed in that in physical form, I think. I haven't listened to the audio, therefore I will not fully recommend it as an audiobook recommendation, but they are available, again, along really quite a chunky book. If you want to pick it up on audio, they are also available. And one author I just want to give a mention to. Now, I haven't physically had an experience myself with audiobooks, but John Mars is on there, and you guys know I love a crime and thriller book. The one I want to give mention to is The Family Experiment. Now, I couldn't listen to this in audio at the time because I did, fortunately, and I'm really gratefully, receive an ARC of this book when it was initially released, and it is very much a mixed media, so it's a very AI-based book, and it follows several families as basically they try to win an AI baby. So this is, you're talking years in the future, people can't have babies, get an AI one, and they all have to complete different challenges around this baby, and the baby grows up to being up to 18 years old with you, and you have to go through the challenges. People vote you out. The winner gets to keep the baby or gets rid and gets the money. It's quite an interesting concept and very different to the first John Mars book that I read, which was What Lies Between Us. I have got The Marriage Act sat waiting in my BookBeats library, so I would absolutely recommend that one in terms of BookBeats, because I think they've got such a range of authors. But yeah, so that is the list of audiobooks that I would recommend. I do have a video coming in the next couple of weeks in terms of audiobooks I want to read, that I will talk about what is in my BookBeats library or that I've heard needs to be listened to in audio rather than physical. But BookBeats is just such a good service. Again, this is not ad or PR. I'm not gaining anything from talking about BookBeats. I just want to bring you ways that I find are really good for audiobooks. Again, I've mentioned free services like Libby. Go to your local library, see what they use. Libby is the one mine uses. And also Spotify Premium. Again, I'm not gaining anything by telling you about this. I'm just offering you recommendations. But those are mine. Please let me know, guys, if there are any books in the comments you think I need to read, and then maybe I can add them to my next video. But yeah, they're the ones I recommend. Let me know if you've read any of them or listened to any of them, and let me know how you listen to your audiobooks. And let me know what your favourite audiobooks are. And as always, guys, thank you for joining me for yet another video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all on the next video.